Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 313 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, March 26th, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, it's Detroit Day for us, I guess. The Detroit episode.
313, baby. Dan Campbell Day.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, that... You just reminded me. I have, as you know, I'm a full-blown Campbell guy now.
Yeah.
Fully converted. Former Dan Campbell atheist, now a full-blown believer. I have the Dan Campbell 313 shirt.
Nice.
I should have wore that today. What a fool.
Yeah, what the heck?
I know. Whatever.
Dropping the ball.
I know. What are you going to do?
Well, James and I are trying to keep the energy up today. We're both tired as we're recording this podcast, so...
I'm fired up now, man. Let's go.
Good. I'll fire you up. But the music gets me going too, so I'm good. I'm good for now.
I'm usually, if I get excited about the podcast, I'm usually good for about 50 minutes.
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna run completely out of gas.
Yeah, but the problem is we're gonna talk about COTA.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, and usually you'll tell, like, when I'm completely done, I just get really quiet and let you just kind of talk over the air.
Right.
So if that starts happening, yeah, that's just your cue to wrap it up.
Yeah.
It's time for bed.
I mean, like I said, Circuit of the Americas, we could just skip this episode, right? We don't even need to talk about it, do we? Was it?
No.
Is it worth talking about?
I don't know. Maybe.
Let's just end it now and be done.
Yep, we could do that. Sure.
Let's get into it. Echopark Automotive Grand Prix this weekend. At Circuit of the Americas, the year of William Byron continues as William Byron becomes the first multi-winner of the season for the third straight season. James has here in the notes. That's a good little tidbit.
That's a good stat.
Gets the win at COTA. Yeah, I mean,
I think the ending of the race was pretty interesting.
Interesting. That's a good word. You're not giving it too much by saying interesting. It was interesting.
Well, I tell you what. Let me throw this back at you.
Yeah.
Let me ball this idea up and throw it at you here.
Yeah.
F1 will come to COTA in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather watch NASCAR at COTA or F1?
I mean, I'd rather watch NASCAR just park on pit road and sit there in a rain delay than watch a Formula One race. So
yeah, this was good enough.
Yeah.
Good enough.
So I'm gonna contradict myself a lot with this episode because one, I've said numerous times I don't want to talk about whether it's a good race or not anymore. This was a boring race. It was a boring race, James. It just wasn't exciting. I don't care.
I didn't mind.
I don't care. It's fine. Whatever. I'm gonna complain about Circuit of the Americas, and then I'm gonna say we should come back. Like I said, it's just going to be a huge contradiction. The track, it's a Formula One track. It's not designed for NASCAR. It is too long. The laps are too long. It's too forgiving, so you don't have accidents. And it's a beautiful, beautiful facility, probably one of the nicest facilities in NASCAR, and we should be here because it's an awesome place. So, but
drivers love it.
It's just not gonna be a great race. It just isn't, unless maybe it rains and we try to drive through a torrential downpour. Then it gets a little exciting.
These race cars just don't. They're just too good. They're too good.
Yeah. Well, they're too good, and so are the guys that are driving them.
That's absolutely correct.
I mean, this is a road course race. If you go to any other road course, this is what you get in any other series in a road course. It's a road course race. It just why did NASCAR fans start to like road courses, James?
Because they were short tracks.
Because they were chaos. There was chaos.
That's right.
So then we switched this new car and it got rid of a lot of the chaos. But we still had chaos. We still had chaos, James, because we would start and we'd race up to the first turn and everybody would wreck in the first turn. And then we said, Oh, you know what? Let's get rid of that chaos. Let's back the restart zone up. Now we got rid of that chaos. Now there's no chaos. And everybody's complaining because it's not crazy enough. So what the hell do you want?
Listen, man, you and I are seasoned NASCAR watching veterans. And if there's any new eyeballs on the sport that are listening to this podcast, you just got to know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
And not every race is going to be Bristol. It's not going to be Daytona or Talladega. It's not going to be wild and crazy. You're going to have a mundane show, just like you have with any other sport. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just the show, and you either enjoy it for what it is, and watch it, or you tune out. But there's always, Eric, I think you and I, and I think most people you and I talk to about racing, we can find intricacies in each race that we can, we can find enjoyable. I mean, heck, you and I come out here, we talk about the podcast. We got to have topics that we discuss. We're looking for things.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about a boring race for 20, 30 minutes right now.
Yeah, we can talk about Joey Logano getting airborne, or Chase Elliott and track limits.
Chase Elliott and track limits. Everybody with track limits.
Brett Griffin, boy, whew, he's mad. He's mad.
Well, let's get to that. I'm going to save track because there's a few things I want to discuss.
Let's save that.
We could talk about, 42 of 68 laps being led by the same driver.
He was awesome.
I mean, there's just nobody could touch him. Christopher Bell, maybe.
He was going to get him.
Yeah, so I want to talk about this, James, because a lot of debate this week. Christopher Bell has to battle with Ty Gibbs at the end, his teammate, for a couple laps before he gets by and starts running down William Byron. And by the looks of things, another lap he's there. So did Ty Gibbs do him wrong? Should Ty Gibbs have pulled over and let Christopher Bell go battle to win that race? Is it better for Ty Gibbs for Christopher Bell to go up and battle with William Byron and possibly wreck both of them? Or is it better for Ty Gibbs to hold on to that position and fight for his life to try and keep second just in case?
Well, that's, I don't know if, sorry, I had music playing in my ear. That was crazy. I was looking at a statistic. I have had this conversation actually with my F1 buddy who loves F1.
Mm-hmm.
He was watching the COTA
To be
race,
clear, F1, they'd pull over, right?
That's what I asked him. I said, so you're an F1 guy. And I said, you know, team orders better than anybody. If this is an F1 race, there's no decision there. Ty Gibbs gets out of the way.
Right.
But we don't do that in NASCAR, and nor do I want us to do that in NASCAR. Ty Gibbs should absolutely fight a little bit. I have no problem with that. I understand though, like for the Gibbs organization, obviously they want their guy to win, but you can't just tell a Ty to pull over. We don't do that here.
Well, and they also said on BBC, the kid's name's on the building. Like, who's going to be mad at Ty Gibbs? His name is everywhere. It's his family. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's not like he's in trouble this week.
No, he's going to be totally fine.
Yeah.
I just think I think he was fair enough with, Chris though. Like he didn't race him overly aggressively. He tried to fight him a little bit, but when the time came for Chris to make the pass, he made the pass. Chris struggled with that earlier in the race. So I think it worked out well. I think maybe it was just a lap too soon. I think if Christopher had one more lap, this is a little bit more interesting, but he was driving. I mean, you got to appreciate what he did because he drove hard and made up a ton of time. And Byron was, kind of easing around a little bit.
That's what I was going to say. I think had it gone another lap or two, I don't think it would have been a different result because I think Byron was doing what he needed to do to maintain his gap, and that was it. Because there was a little concern over fuel, not much, but there was a little concern over fuel, and he didn't need to go any faster than that. And I think William Byron at this point, he's a damn smart race car driver, and he's a damn good race car driver.
Yeah. And
he knows not to burn his stuff up on a guy who's faster than him, who's gaining on him. It's one thing, as they say, it's one thing to catch him, it's another to pass him.
Yep.
So all he's got to do is keep him behind him, and he's got a chance to win the race.
Yeah.
So, I to be clear, I saw nothing wrong with anything that anybody did there. I would have done the same thing that Ty Gibbs did. I don't think Christopher Bell was upset about it. I didn't hear anything. So,
well, he had other problems.
Yeah, he was He was pretty close to fight or flight mode, or just flight mode. Pit
I
road.
think he just was like, get me out of this conversation quickly as you can. When Rowdy when Rowdy's rowdy, that's pretty scary. And then for those who may not have seen, Kyle Busch approached him with 3 fingers.
Well, yeah, it seemed like you did this once last year. You did this a second time this year. 3, no, ain't happening.
Yeah, and also Kyle Larson. I mean, he got both Kyles. He got Kyle Busch, and then he bulldozed Larson too. So, and I don't
really blame him on the Kyle Busch thing.
I don't know. I don't blame.
I think Busch is more upset over his season than he is about
what's funny. I actually Chris is not that guy. He doesn't have that reputation of being like really dirty.
No. Had
Ross Chastain done this, I probably would have been screaming.
Yeah. Well, and if it had Ross Chastain done it, I would definitely say that Ross Chastain drove in over his head, but I don't think Bell did. I think
Bell was just guard. And I think his car was so much better than everybody's. He was just flying. I mean, he could get in and out of the corners. I mean, you could see it. He could navigate things much better than anybody outside of Byron, who was, obviously the class of the field, but late in that race too. I mean, Chris was just in and out of the corners. He could accelerate out of the corners. He was always making ground on everybody. I think he was just that much faster, and I think it almost to the detriment of the field around him, I guess, because he was flying. So yeah, not his reputation, but definitely when you knock a few guys around, especially when you knock around 2 guys with championships like that, it's gonna stick to you a little bit. And Kyle Busch is not gonna let him off the hook. There's gonna come a moment where Kyle will race him. Well, Kyle won't spin him, I don't think, intentionally, but Kyle will race him extremely hard. Kyle had that same walk he had with Logano. I thought he was going to get him. Yeah, I really thought he might tag him. He looked like he was going to do it, but Kyle's not dumb, man. He knows what the limit is. He wanted to send a message. I think he got the message sent. He didn't have to put his hands on him. Yeah, Chris looked uncomfortable. He knew he was wrong. I think that was it too. He wasn't. And that's the other thing with Chris. Like he's got a good reputation, and you could see like, oh man, I screwed up. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. You could tell like he was. They'll have a conversation this week. I know. I was half expecting him to like reach in his back pocket, and say, "Here's my wallet, man. Here, take this. Whatever you need. Like I'm good. I'm sorry, Mr. Busch." Yeah. There was a little bit of that going on. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Eric, what did you think? I was going to ask you this question too. I didn't put this in the notes, but so we had cautions back at the stages. Probably saved us, I think, in this instance. What do you think? I think so. I mean, I think that it would have been a really boring race had we not had those. It was going to go caution free, I think. Probably. I mean, what could you have picked out? The only thing that we could have had is NASCAR throwing a caution for the dirt to clean the dirt up. In turn 9, turn 8, whatever. Yeah, right down there. Yeah, through the S's. Yeah. That's about the only thing I can think of that they could have thrown a caution for. There was nothing on the track. There was no reason to. There was no car that stopped for more than a couple seconds. There would have been no cautions unless it was manufactured. So, yep. Unless somebody tries to run long and runs out of fuel as a result, you don't want to do that at this track. But yeah, I think that's the only reason we had cautions. Yep. I think that's a good transition into track limits. Let's talk some track limits. Yes. Yep. Obviously a factor all weekend long. A lot larger factor in the other 2 races on Saturday versus the Cup race. But obviously the Chase Elliott thing is a big topic of conversation. If you missed it, Chase gets loose, cuts the corner. Nothing he could have done. I mean, he's wrecking it, otherwise. And he still got the pass-through penalty. I heard a lot of talk from teams and whatnot this week, not happy with those penalties. I heard Michael McDowell wants the sausage curbs back, or the turtles as we know them in NASCAR. Mm-hmm. They're there for every other series. They're just not there for the Cup Series. They pull them out. I mean, James, I guess I would argue that if you put them back,
you're going to tear some cars up and you're going to get some natural cautions. So maybe.
Yeah, it's over penalization.
I mean, you think it's too big of a penalty to have a drive-through, put the turtles back. Now you got a wrecked race car. Now you're done for the day. So I don't know. What's the solution? Yeah, I mean, you got to enforce something because they're just going to drive straight through there if you don't, right?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think this is something that F1 does. F1's track, now, please take this with a grain of salt. F1's track limits are extremely tight.
Yes.
To the point where it's a detriment. However, there's the one thing that they do get right.
Is it a detriment though, James? Because there's a lot of pavement on this racetrack, and the part that we use isn't the racetrack.
Well, these
cars spend more time off the track at COTA than they do on the track, and it looks stupid.
It does look a little ridiculous, but you got to remember too how much better all other forms of motorsport can turn. IndyCar, F1, shoot.
If NASCAR enforced going wide on the turns that we'd have a ton of penalties as a result?
I don't
they
think
would just drive it differently.
No, but I just think the drivers, they try to get around there as efficiently as possible. And right now they're maximizing every ounce that they can get out of it.
It looks so stupid. It looks like we don't know what we're doing.
I know. Well, I don't mind cars going wide. It's cars cutting short that always get me. And I think in Chase's instance, the turtles are an over-penalization. What happened to him was an over-penalization.
Yeah.
If he's not advancing his position on the racetrack, I think you got to let it go.
Hold on a second.
Would be my...
Hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Are you agreeing with Denny Hamlin?
Yeah, I think I am.
Denny Hamlin is calling for a
common
sense penalty.
Yeah, it's not that difficult to... Now, that being said, Chase Elliott screwed up, and the penalty is the penalty. I'm not going to... The penalty, I think, under the current state, the penalty was fair based on how NASCAR calls it.
I agree.
However, I don't think it's fair in the grand scheme of things to ruin somebody's day, basically. Because
why can we not make a decision in the tower? Why can we not look at it and go, yes, they look like they gained an advantage. No, they didn't. This one didn't. Why can't we just make that decision? And
I don't know why it's so hard. Well, Fox can't keep up with how many cars are spinning out on the track, so I don't know how much harder it is.
Well, fortunately, they don't officiate the race.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, why can't the tower key in on the 9 team and say, hey, we saw that one. Don't do it again. We're gonna have our eye on you. If you cut it again, you're gonna pass through.
Yeah.
Because
I'm up for having warnings. Each team gets so many warnings, but there's still the egregious. You definitely gain an advantage in our discretion. You gain an advantage. You're done. You gotta take the penalty. And that being said, I also think that there should be different penalties. I don't think a drive-through catch-all works. I don't think the stop and go at Charlotte works. I think there should be different penalties for different things. Shane Van Gisbergen, we're going to talk about the Xfinity race in a minute, shouldn't have lost 20-some positions because he cut the corner by a half an inch.
Right.
Right. It looked, again, it's silly. It's like, it's the same thing as we can't figure out local yellows in NASCAR, so we don't use them. It looks like we don't know what we're doing. What the hell are we running on a road course for if we don't know how to enforce a road course race?
Yeah, and that's just it. I think we need to make sure that we're policing it a little bit more fairly.
Yeah.
And I'm with you too. Like, the car's running way outside of, as Kevin Harvick would say, they're finding the paint.
Right.
It does look weird. I know these guys are just trying to go as fast as they possibly can, though. But you gotta maybe that's where the turtles come into play. I don't know.
Yeah, then you're launching cars airborne into a fence outside of the track.
Well, that's the thing.
So.
We've done that. We've done that before.
I have an idea. Maybe we should use turtles that aren't 1.5 feet tall. Maybe the cars shouldn't launch off of them when they hit it. Maybe it should just be hard to drive over.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe nobody makes those types of turtles, but somebody's got to be able to invent one, right?
Right. And what I'm glad that we don't do is we don't time penalty people. Like, they don't say, like in F1, like Chase Elliott has a 3-second penalty. Like, that's just confusing for fans. Yeah. So we got to do something that's a little more cut and dry, but I'm good with the common sense. Like Denny Hamlin said, I'm good with the common sense penalty.
You can tell if somebody's gaining an advantage or not.
But this is the good thing about me not listening to Actions Detrimental, because now I
Yeah.
can just agree with Denny and I can have a fair opinion. So, no, I'm good with that. I'm good with that call.
Yeah. I guess the thing that bothers me the most, and at the risk of sounding like Brett Griffin a little bit, is okay. So Shane Van Gisbergen got penalized 20 positions or 20 some positions for a quarter of an inch, but every single car had both right side tires in the dirt 2 corners later, and nobody got penalized. So why? I get that because there's a natural barrier there, but still they're cutting the course. So if we're going to enforce it in one spot, why are we not enforcing it in another spot? It just looks like we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, I know. It's just messy.
Maybe we don't
It's
know
just
what
messy.
we're doing, James.
Well, Eric, let me put you in the time machine. It's 2021. You know, the world's coming back together from COVID still. And we go to COTA for the first time, and it's exciting. And there's rain. And there's a NASCAR race, and we decide this is the one. We are going to run this thing in the rain. And if you think that we haven't improved from that day upon the we don't know what we're doing rule, we definitely look like we know what we're doing now.
You mean
If
that
you go
day
back
that-
and watch
That day that we almost killed a driver, and then we decided, let's go try it one more time
Yep.
before we called the race.
When Cole Custer was getting out of his car and cars were still swerving around him.
Yeah.
Yes. That is the epitome of we don't know what the heck we're doing today.
That was one of the scarier moments I've ever seen in a
when
NASCAR race in a long time.
And that whole that race was we've had a lot of what shows over the years. That one might be the top of the holy crap, we don't know what the hell we're doing. This is bad. So take that one for what it's worth. And we've improved, Eric, we have improved upon that.
Here we go.
I guess we'll take it.
So we've talked about 20 minutes about the boring race that there's nothing to talk about.
We did good.
Before we talk about whether we should come back, we've pretty much talked about one driver. We talked about William Byron. So let's talk about some of the others. We mentioned Christopher Bell in second place. Ty Gibbs, my pick last week, almost got himself his first win, finishes third.
He's good, man.
Great run here for him.
He's got it coming. It's coming, Eric.
Yeah. Your pick, Tyler Reddick, somehow managed a fifth place finish. I don't know how the hell that happened.
He was not what I thought he was going to do.
No, he was kind of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, he was around. He led a lap.
Yeah.
But that was not the Tyler Reddick I was expecting. Top 5, I thought he'd be in contention for the win. He was not. He was nowhere to be in contention.
I thought for sure he was. I thought for sure you had the winning pick.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. I felt good about it. That being said, I only lost by 3 points, I guess, if you think of it that way. But still, I was surprised. Just surprised. That was another thing I was going to ask you. So Tyler Reddick was the championship belt holder for road courses. I think William Byron might be the guy right now.
Yeah, I think there's just too many good drivers that there's not one guy anymore.
I know. There's a lot.
These guys, guys just are good at road courses now.
Yeah, well, he won. So just for the record, he won at Watkins Glen last year. He's now won at COTA. That's only 2. But that's 2 very recent road courses. I think they've got something going on with that 24 camp.
Yeah.
So something to consider.
AJ Allmendinger gets a 6th place finish. Ross Chastain 7th. Kyle Busch manages to rally for a 9th place finish despite Christopher Bell trying to wreck him. What else? Bubba Wallace had a nice
He got a friendly push from Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah.
Back to the pits. Running out of gas.
Bubba Wallace qualified really well for a road course and then promptly wrecked 11 turns into the start of the race.
That almost took out Truex too. That was the Truex recovery because he was in that kerfuffle.
Yeah.
As well.
Kerfuffle, that was Harvick's word, right? Is that his word this week?
I just thought of it, but yeah, we could say.
I think it was Harvick. I think that was Harvick's word this week.
You know, Harvick and I are closer in age than I'd like to admit, so we have the same vocabulary, I think.
Justin Haley had a good run and then gets DQ'd, which is interesting because I just downloaded the results and they still show him in 17th.
Yeah, I've got him 39th, P39.
Huh. NASCAR didn't update their statistics online.
How about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kobayashi? Well, Kobayashi, He spun multiple times off of bumpers. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. famously for the third time took him out.
I enjoyed him throttling up and taking Stenhouse with him.
That he did. Yeah.
At least he's learning how to wreck in the Cup Series. And they finished back to back, 23rd and 30th, so or 29th.
Eric,
30th,
would you like to hear the drivers from Michigan how they did? Did you see this?
No, go ahead.
Carson Hocevar finished 22nd. He led our Michigan contingent. And then Eric Jones, nowhere to be found all day. He finished 32nd, but not to be outdone by Brad Keselowski, who every time the camera showed him was facing the wrong way. And I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah.
So yeah, not a good day for our hometown guys. I guess we don't have enough road courses here in Michigan. I don't know. Not a good day.
Yeah. So James, I said I would contradict myself. Looks like we're looking at coming back here next year. That's the talk. That's the rumor. Good with returning to COTA?
I've got no problem with COTA. I mean, I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's right in the middle. It's fine with me.
I very facetiously posted a tweet this week noting my fix to COTA, and that was to basically chop the second half of the track off and run the shortcut, essentially, which I think would definitely fix the issue of the cars getting too spread out. But it also would get rid of a couple of the best parts of the track. So it was a joke, guys. I wasn't like 100% serious.
Well, Joe Logano stole your idea.
Did he?
Oh, he did.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I mean, you take two of the best parts of the track out, which is that tight turn, which I think is 11, and that long straightaway going into the next slow turn. I mean, you really hurt the track. Plus, you get rid of a chunk of the S's as well. It would ruin the course, I think, but it would shorten it up. And this is why we got rid of the carousel again at Sonoma. This is why we don't run the boot at Watkins Glen. The long tracks just don't work very well in NASCAR, unfortunately.
Yeah, they stretch everything out.
Yeah. We want contact. We want people to run into each other, and you're not going to get it when they're all spread out like that. But it is what it is. Once a year, no problem. I think Austin's a good market. And I haven't been there, but from everything I've heard, the amenities there are great. It's a beautiful track. It's a place we should have on the schedule. It's like Pocono, it's not going to be great necessarily when we go there, but we need to go there. So.
Yep. I think the schedule is a little bit janky we go to Texas, we leave for a couple of weeks, we go back to Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know where to put it on the schedule. Maybe I think, well, I would move this date. I'd be moving the other one around, but I don't know why they did it the way they did it this year. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they screwed IndyCar over with the Texas Motor Speedway date, and I don't know.
That's weird.
My theory. Wow. So here's the deal with Texas Motor Speedway. First of all, they are running a super motocross race in the Tri-Oval there at the end of the year.
Yep.
I think they moved it where they did to give time for construction, and the super motocross race can happen during construction. So I wouldn't be surprised to see an announcement after Texas, but we'll see.
Yep.
No inside info whatsoever. That's just me pulling something out of my butt, but that's my theory. So, two other races at Circuit of the Americas this weekend. The NASCAR Xfinity Series and Truck Series held a doubleheader on Saturday. I know we got them in reverse order on the notes, James, but let's start with the Truck Series since that was the first one of the weekend. The XPEL 225. Corey Heim with the win. I haven't checked. Has Connor Zilisch made the first turn yet?
Well, he made it enough to finish top 5. So
yeah,
a little excited for the young fella.
Hell of a performance though for screwing up right off the bat, and I mean putting himself in a hole because he had to pit with a flat tire, and then got it back in the cluster F that is the middle of the pack at a Truck Series race.
And he finished 4th. He finished 4th in this race, and then flew out to Pensacola and finished 4th again in the ARCA race. So yeah.
We're gonna be hearing from that kid.
He stormed into he kind of kicked the door wide open.
Well, it's funny because I've heard his name, and I don't think we've ever talked about him, but everybody's been talking about him. He's been winning all kinds of stuff.
He's 17 years old. How much can you talk about him? And then he comes in the Truck Series race and sets the track record for NASCAR. It's pretty wild. So, he's going to be around.
Yeah, definitely. Not even old enough to run the big tracks yet. So, Yeah. He's
He finished
he'll-
ahead of Ross Chastain and a lot of other guys. I mean, a lot of veterans. I mean,
he's
that's-
running Watkins Glen for the Xfinity Series later this season. So
Yeah, he'll be around.
Yeah.
He's gonna be around. Yeah, that's pretty cool. What a cool story.
yeah, I agree. Corey Heim, 31 laps led in this thing. Another basically dominating performance here this weekend. Only driver with double-digit laps led. Again, 31 of 46 laps, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. Corey Heim might be pretty good, huh?
Yeah, he might be going somewhere as well. There's a lot of young talent here coming up. That's gonna have to find a place to go over the next few years.
He's your points leader, by the way. 5 for 5 for top tens.
Yeah.
At the start of the season, so that's pretty good. 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and now he gets his win, locks himself into the playoff hunt. Yeah, he's gonna probably be heard from in Phoenix here at the end of the year. So he's gonna he's gonna win a few more races before this thing's all said and done.
Yeah, he'll be in the final four, I think.
Those Toyotas for Gilliland. I mean, those things. Whatever Kyle Busch Motorsports was. That team now they've got the goods, as they say. Those things are fast.
Yeah, for sure. Marco Andretti.
Did you like how I put it in the notes?
I love that. I love it. Yeah.
You don't have to say it.
Yeah, one of the weirdest things ever. I mean, the whole rear end got ripped out of his car.
Yeah, that was weird.
He's lucky. He's lucky he wasn't going faster because that sucker would have flipped like crazy.
I don't know. Have you ever seen that before?
No, I've never seen that.
The only time I've seen the rear end come out like that was like when, famously Ryan Newman's flip at Daytona.
Yeah.
That the rear end flew out, but that was a car that was already in distress. This is just a car going down the straightaway and completely coming apart.
Yeah.
Like a piece of 2x4 or something. It was weird.
If you want to see wheel hop illustrated, this is the best illustration of it.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have anything else to say. Lucky that it happened where it happened.
Great photo.
Yeah.
A great photo. It's a meme. It's a meme to be had. That's for sure.
When they first showed that rear end rolling, I was like, what in the world? Like, you never see that.
Pretty
Like
cool.
you said, the only time we've ever seen rear ends ripped out of cars is when they're flipping.
Yep.
They get
Not
torn
like
out
that.
somehow. They're never like that. That's just incredible.
Me and Marco got to hang out next to each other at the SRX race last year in Berlin. I wish this would have happened before that.
Yeah,
'cause I
you
would
could have
had so
chatted
many
with him about it.
questions.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Like, how did that happen? What was that?
Let's
Crazy.
see. Taylor Gray, strong performance, second place finish for him in the 17. We mentioned Connor Zilisch. Ross Chastain gets a fifth place finish coming over from the Cup Series. Oh, I don't know. Anything else to talk about there?
No, I
kinda
think that's probably it. I think the best race of the weekend is the one we're going to talk about.
Yeah, let's do it
I know.
then. Second race of the day, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, the Focused Health 250. Kyle Larson gets himself a win after the battle between Van Gisbergen and Austin Hill. I didn't realize this was the first win in the 17 for Hendrick.
Yeah, the first, yep. Yeah, this was the win that when they put that package together with that 17 and it's an all-star car.
Yeah.
They just throw in, they throw the big dogs at it. They've been trying to get this one.
They basically get wrecked at the end just about every time, dominating a race.
Yep. So yeah, Hendrick goes 1 and 2 on the weekend with Larson getting this one, and then obviously Byron on Sunday. But yeah, it was a big win. There's a picture of Larson next to the 17, kneeling down, pointing to the sky. Like it was a big deal for Hendrick Motorsports to put this car in victory lane. That's Ricky Hendrick's number. If you're not familiar with that story, that's Rick's son passed away tragically of Eric 20 years ago now.
I don't want to talk about it because it's so long ago that it shouldn't.
We don't have to talk. Yeah, we don't have to talk about it. But yeah,
it makes me feel really old. But yeah,
it does. Yeah, but I remember that.
It happened during the Martinsville race. Jimmy Johnson wins the race. Instead of going to victory lane, they pull him aside and give him the news. Like, it was an awful weekend.
Well, that paint scheme, obviously the one that Larson's now made famous, the Hendrick Cars paint scheme, that was Ricky's paint scheme too. So there's Rick's done a great job. That team's done a great job of sprinkling in Ricky's memory because he'd be running this whole organization right now with, with Jeff Gordon. But this win with the 17, that's a little bit of a bow tie on that whole project. Like, they wanted to put this car in victory lane, and Larson gets the pole, starts the back, leads one lap, gets the win. Basically just had to hang out there.
Yeah.
a little bit. But man, these Xfinity cars, we've talked this year about how they've struggled to put on a good show, but man, they can get around a road course in a fun way. Austin Hill and SVG were just throwing haymakers at each other.
Yeah, let's talk about that, James, because there's a lot of debate about that this week.
There is a lot of debate about this.
So Austin Hill, they get a late race restart or a green-white checker at the end, which I think is the recipe for road courses. I think we should just throw a caution and run a 2-lap shootout at the end of every one of these things. But Austin Hill basically pushes SVG into turn 1, runs him a little wide, gets the lead, and SVG decides it ain't ending that way. And he decides to tear the front end off of his car, basically trying to run through Austin Hill a couple turns from the end of the race, and Larson's able to get by and get the win. Any issues with what Austin Hill did to start with?
I don't like his behavior afterwards. Like,
I don't want to. I'm not there yet. Just
okay. All right.
Going into turn 1.
All right.
Going into turn 1. Any issues in turn 1?
No, I guess not.
Okay.
I guess, are you talking about the racing? No, I don't.
Any issues with what SVG did? Because Austin Hill was upset.
No, I don't. I don't have any issues with it.
All right, and his behavior, Austin Hill's behavior, you're not a fan of his belly aching after the race, huh?
Yeah, it's a bad look for Austin Hill.
Yeah.
I didn't realize why, because there's always been that kind of underlayer with him where people are like kind of sour on him, and I never figured out what that was. It's
me, by the way. It's me. I'm the one who's sour with him. I don't know why. I just don't. I have issues with Austin Hill.
Well, he's too talented to be getting into the, I don't know, the crap that he gets into.
Yeah, like where the hell did he come from? First of all, I mean,
it's making me rethink the whole Martinsville thing too.
Yeah. Well, I already had my mind made up on that one. Whose fault that one was. So I have a question for you, James. But I have a question.
Yeah.
If you are racing a NASCAR Xfinity Series car, and I don't care if it's your first win or your 50th win, if you have a chance, if you are behind somebody, you're not going to pass them. You're just not going to pass them. Coming in the last couple turns at Circuit of the Americas, you can get to their bumper. Are you going for it?
Yes.
Are you hitting them? You're bumping them out of the way, right?
Yeah, NASCAR. That's NASCAR racing.
NASCAR.
Yes.
So
Bump and run.
I just fired up Formula 1 23 on the PS5 earlier this week.
I've been playing a lot of that game, by the way. Sidebar, a lot of that game.
Been kicking my butt. I'm racing the Australian Grand Prix, which was perfect because I didn't even realize it was the same weekend. And I had a chance going into the final turn, or second to last turn. And guess what? I'd have gotten DQ'd in a real Formula 1 race, but I cleaned that guy out and I took the win. Because you're going to do that. Yeah. And I'm going to do that every single time. I don't care if it makes me the dirtiest driver in the sport. I don't care if nobody respects me for it. Guess what? I got a trophy, and that's all that matters.
There's rough racing. There's being rough and putting your elbows out, right?
Yep.
There's, getting aggressive, and then there's cleaning guys out.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't have wrecked him. He didn't wreck him.
Yeah. No, and as long as you're not cleaning guys out, I honestly, the two of those guys after that race should have walked up to each other, big dog, like that Tiger Woods meme, big dog, pat on the back, handshake, and walk away.
Yep.
That was awesome racing. Good racing. Good on you, man. You went toe-to-toe with SVG.
Shane seemed all right with it. He seemed happy with how everything turned out.
Well, that's the thing is Austin faked it and was like, yeah, this is not bad. And then he goes on TV and just blasts those guys. And I'm like, man, Austin, that not a good look, man.
Yeah, I just, again, this is 2 laps to go when it starts. Comes down to the last lap. I had no issue with either of them. It's NASCAR. You're going to make contact. That's why people love this sport. That's why we watch this sport and not Formula 1.
That's right.
If you're going to get upset about it, go race Formula 1.
Yeah. Like I said, man, don't clean them out. Race them hard. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
Hard racing. That's what we pay money for. That's why we get tickets and tune in on the weekends. That's why we watch.
Of course, it didn't matter in the long run anyway, because Shane Van Gisbergen, which, by the way, I've mentioned his name so many times and I haven't used this, so let me use this.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
There we go. He ends up, again, 27th as a result of the penalty on the last lap.
Third in my heart.
Yeah, ridiculous. Just, again,
I know.
it's the right call because that's the rules that NASCAR set forth on the weekend, but it's just a terrible call. I mean, come on.
I know.
So, no way should you be penalized essentially 26 positions, 25 positions because you missed a turn by a quarter of an inch.
Especially when you're racing like that. Let him go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
What
Common
if he
sense.
had won the race?
Right?
That would have been a...
Well, I mean, you
That'd
could
be a
be
conversation.
you could be Brandon Jones in the same race and win the stage and get penalized, lose the stage win.
Oh, yeah, that did happen.
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
20 seconds ahead of the second place car and blew it.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
So, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, just, I don't know. Something's got to be done there. There's got to be a solution that doesn't make us look silly. But
I don't know. Again, yeah, we already talked about
yeah, we
Talked
can
about silly.
go for another 20 minutes on that subject. Anything else with the Xfinity race? Anything else with COTA?
Austin Hill, 5 for 5, top fives on the season. I know we've given him a little bit of crap there, but
yeah, I mean, respect to him. He's a hell of a driver. I don't like him, but he's a hell of a driver.
He's putting together a campaign, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's.
I mean,
about it,
to be
man.
fair, he's a Cup Series driver that's trapped in the Xfinity Series right now.
You got nowhere to go. Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
There's no
Austin Hill's the reason that I don't think Austin Dillon's running that much longer because they're going to lose him.
Yeah, we'll see.
If he doesn't get moved up to the Cup Series next year, Austin Hill is gone. RCR loses him.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Austin Dillon might like the front office. I don't know. Maybe.
He's certainly not doing much where he's at right now.
I made my comments on the Tweeter machine last week, so I said what I said.
All right.
Stand
Anything
by
else
it.
with COTA before we leave it in the dust?
William Byron entering some interesting company now with his 12th career win.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I know you love this.
Yep.
He is 1 win behind Tim Richmond.
Oh, boy.
Career wins. He is 3 wins behind Ernie Irvin.
That's good company.
He is 6 wins behind. You're gonna love this. He is 6 wins behind this group of drivers: Jeff Bodine, Neil Bonnet, Chase Elliott, Harry Gant, Ryan Newman, and Casey Kane.
Wow.
That is a that is a group right there.
You know what the best part about this stat is?
What's that?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
He's going to blow by these guys.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you this.
Yeah.
He's on track for, how old is he now? 26? Man, if he keeps doing this, we're going to be talking possibly a 50-win driver, which is still very rare. 15 guys have ever done it. If he can continue doing what he's doing, because he's going to be around for a while. So
30 plus wins easy.
yeah,
Easy.
30. Yep, 30 puts him. So in the 30 club, that's 29 drivers, starting with Joey Logano at 32, Dale Jarrett, Martin Truex, Kurt Busch, Brad, those guys.
Multi-time champion?
Yep, Joey Logano would be a multi-time champion.
No.
in that group.
Is William Byron going to be a multi-time champion?
He's, man, it's so hard to win these things.
I know.
He's
tough.
got to.
You would think so,
The
right?
problem he's going to have.
The
I
other
think
great drivers
I
on
think
his
he's
team?
A 2 or 3 time.
He's got
Just looking at
he's
what
got
he's
one other
starting
he's
to
got
do.
one teammate that he's got to worry about that's going to take a couple away
He's
from
a
him.
problem. Yeah, he's a problem. That guy's a problem. Well, that's the thing. I was just gonna say that. That's the problem he's got. He's got that goat wandering around. And I think the other problem he's gonna run into in the second half of his career is that kid in the 54 over at Gibbs.
That's true.
He looks like he's gonna be a real problem if he continues to put the trajectory on that. And then we've got, there's really good talent all over the place. That's why I'm saying multi-champion is actually really tough to say. If you can get one, you'd probably be ecstatic. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I think he can get two.
That's
Why
Denny
can't
Hamlin.
he
He'd
get
be
two?
ecstatic with one.
Oh my God, yeah. Look, I mean, a lot of guys have one. Truex, Kurt Busch, Brad, those guys all got one. Matt Kenseth, that's one. Guys with two, that's rare. Logano, Buck Baker, Herb Thomas, it's pretty rare. Ned Jarrett, then talk about Lee Petty, Tony Stewart, like that's Kyle Busch. That's a small group, man. Multi-time champions is a very small, select few.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, there's different clubs in the championship club, and he's knocking at the door probably of that first one here pretty soon. So yeah, it's fun. His career is pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a fun time if you're a William Byron fan, that's for sure.
Man, I've really been enjoying it, man. I don't know. He's definitely we've seen this
Dude,
last couple
I need you to
years
pick
now.
a driver for God's sakes.
Well, he's
Just
there.
pick one.
He's
William.
there.
It's William Byron. You're wearing a freaking.
I got my Byron shirt on right
You're
now.
wearing a Kyle Larson hat to the hockey game. You talk about Chase Briscoe. Like, pick a
I do like Chase
driver for
Briscoe.
God's sakes.
I do like Chase Briscoe too. I do like that. Yeah. No, if I
Ross
had to pick,
Chastain. You're such a Ross Chastain fan.
yeah, that too. I know I don't have just one, but I've got like four that are like all. I got the feelings for about four. Got good feelings.
Eric Jones.
Yep, Eric Jones is way up on my list. Although he needs to win a race soon.
Yeah,
Please.
he does.
Please, Eric Jones, get one.
All right, let's move on, James. We want to do the Netflix thing next and then go into news.
Sure, you want to do that real quick?
All right, yeah, let's. What? Tell me about this. This is your brainchild.
So we can do this fairly quickly. But
yeah,
I came up
should
with
we
a
talk
gimmick.
about why we're discussing this
Yeah.
first?
Yes. So Chase Elliott,
Yeah,
former champion,
most popular driver in the sport.
quite a few times in a row. Yep.
To the point that our ratings are down 15% when he doesn't race.
Oh. Yeah. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
That guy. So Chase Elliott goes on the download and he says some wild crap. That's the only way I can explain it, right?
Yeah.
He says,
You got the quote?
Well, I wasn't going to read it word for word, but he says basically he doesn't want to do the Netflix show because they would make him mad, and anything that doesn't help him go faster in the race cars, he's not interested.
Yep.
To which I was in my head screaming, but snowboarding Chase, snowboarding Chase, flying your airplane all over the place.
Is this not the
Chase.
worst take of a most popular driver you've ever heard in your life?
I would love, and I haven't listened to any downloads yet, but he did. Dale did do a mailbag today. I'd love to ask him if they felt like that after that interview was done, if that was a good idea to even publish that, because it made him look terrible.
Do you think Ben Kennedy got on the phone right away after you heard that episode?
He might have
Called Chase up and said, "What in the hell are you doing?"
That was. It was. If you haven't listened to it, it's worth your time.
I
to listen to.
I was shocked when I heard it, James. I mean, that doesn't surprise me because I know how Chase
we
is.
know how he is. Yeah.
But it surprised me that he would publicly say, "Don't bother me with this show that just brought tons of new exposure to your sport."
the ratings were up again for COTA. I think 11 to 15% or whatever the heck it was. So ratings, I mean, the Netflix bump is a real thing.
Yeah.
And for him to just be like, meh.
If you're going to carry the flag of the most popular driver, you need to be an ambassador for the sport. That's one thing that Dale Jr. did. Dale Jr. might have not won races, but Dale Jr. was an ambassador for the sport.
Him and Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon did a lot of that too. Yeah. They did it in a way, I wish I could go back and shake myself sometimes because I used to think of those guys so differently, but they really did carry it, and they did it so well, and they did it with class. And man, Chase Elliott just doesn't have that in him. And I don't know if it's from his background or what it might be. That's too psychoanalytical for me to get too deep into, but man, he just doesn't have it. I don't know why he's the most popular driver, but it's just, I don't know. It's his job, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's close with Blaney. I feel like Blaney came out looking pretty good after that.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Larson didn't. It's not like Larson was in it heavily, but Larson even did it, and he's,
Right.
he's not the most outgoing guy either. But
All right, so tell us your game. What do we
all
got?
right, here's the game. You and I are gonna have a draft,
Yes.
and here's how I was gonna do it. It would be a snake draft, and I'll let you pick however you want to do it. But you pick one, then I pick two, then you pick two, and then I pick so on and so forth. So until we get to 5 drivers each.
Okay. We have to pick different drivers.
Different drivers.
Okay.
And at the end of our pick, because we're just going, this is the personality draft for NASCAR Full Speed on Netflix.
This has nothing to do with how good of a driver they are. This has nothing to do with whether they're in the playoffs or not.
Who do we want to watch on the Netflix show? And then when we're done, we'll look at them really quick and we'll say, all right, who won this? Who's got the better 5? Would be how I would do it. So, Eric, I'm gonna let you pick. Do you want the first pick, or do you want to take the 2 on the backside? What do you think? What do you want?
I'll take the first pick because I.
All right.
Let me have the first pick. Let me think about it here for a second.
No,
personality, who I want.
And you can include. I was gonna say, make sure you include season 1 guys to come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Who do you want to see?
This is not going to be a popular opinion, but I don't care because it's my pick, and I think the person that I find the most interesting, personality-wise, and we've talked about it on here before, is Joey Logano. So give me Joey Logano to start out.
Wow. All right. Jolo. So all right. So I get 2 on the way back.
Yeah.
All right. Guys for me that I would love to see on the Netflix show. Oh man, give me first pick. Give me Rowdy.
Okay.
Kyle Busch. Because he's got a lot of cool things going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's some fake stuff going on.
Yeah.
I feel like, but he's got Brexton too. So, and he can be pretty entertaining. So give me
you're
Kyle.
gonna get ratings with Sam too. Sam will steal the show.
Well, yeah.
Whether you like it or not, Sam will steal the show.
Yeah. And now I'm gonna change I had another guy in mind. I'm gonna change my pick here. I'm gonna take Blaney because I want to see the Ryan Blaney post championship.
Okay. That's a good one.
Without the burden of having to win that title, he's got one now. And I want to see Ryan Blaney. I want to see who Ryan Blaney really is outside the track.
Okay.
So Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney.
Okay.
Now you get 2.
Now I get 2. All right. Well, let me start by saying I would, if Kevin Harvick was still racing, he would be my second choice.
He would be on my list. Yes.
Because I could follow Harvick around forever.
He's super interesting to me.
Yeah. I'm going to go for my first pick here. I'm going to go from a business standpoint. I'd really like to see what his relationship is now on the business side of things. And I'm going to pick Brad.
Oh, you took one of mine. Yeah, I think he was going to be one of my next 2.
And then I'm going to go way out on a limb and just go with, I'm going to go 100% personality. And I'm going to go Carson Hocevar.
Oh, such a good pick.
There's nothing better than the fact that every week Jeff Gluck posts was it a good race? It's
really good.
And Carson Hocevar explains his decision. It is so good.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good.
That dude, he needs to be. We've said it all along. He is a Cup Series future star, just on personality alone.
Yes.
So
yes, there's a couple. So we only have. Let me see how many picks we got left here. 2 for. These are my last. Oh man. Well, I've got 6. But you want to go 6 or 5?
We have.
Oh, no, we have 5.
We have 5 spaces. So
okay, so I have 2. Okay, I have 3 picks left. Okay, I'm good. All right. Boy. Oh man, this is gonna. There's a couple of guys I really want. I don't know if I'm gonna get them all. Give me Noah Gragson.
Okay.
And Noah Gragson and shoot, man, there's some guys I really want. I'm not going to get them all. Shoot, I was going to say Chase Briscoe. I'm going to let him go. You know who would be interesting off the track? Corey LaJoy.
Corey LaJoy would be a good one. Are you picking
I
him?
want to see Corey LaJoy. Yeah.
All
Give me Gragson and Corey LaJoy. And I really hope, like, my pick for saying Gragson, I know he's been through some stuff here,
Yeah.
of his own doing, obviously, but that dude's super interesting to me. I would like to see what he's all about a little bit more.
All right, so I got 2 more, right?
Yes, you got 2 more, and I get the final pick. There's a guy I'm gonna have to pick because I think I have to. And if you don't take him, I'm gonna have to.
All right, I'm taking Kyle Larson.
Yeah, he's got to probably be on there.
Boy, personality maybe not as much, but no, I think Kyle Larson off the track. I think you'll see more of his personality.
Get him to the dirt tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what he's got going.
Exactly.
On
I don't want to see Kyle Larson playoff Kyle Larson. I want to see Kyle Larson middle of the season Kyle Larson.
Yeah. And
then I'm gonna go with another one that I find the situation fascinating and would love to follow him around, and I'm gonna go with Ty Gibbs as my final pick.
Interesting. See, I don't find Ty Gibbs super interesting, but the dynamic I think of him is interesting.
That's with me as a personality.
Yeah.
I think he'd probably annoy me, but I think just his position that he's in as the grandson of the owner of the team, it's interesting.
Yep.
And Austin Dillon be another one like that would be really interesting. Austin might be a really good one depending on how involved in the business he is at RCR.
Yeah.
But.
Yep. So there's some outside looking in guys that aren't going to make our list.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, we didn't pick a lot of the guys that we've seen already because we've seen them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's 2 guys I thought we would pick. Either of us would pick for sure, but actually I'm going to go off the board. I think a little bit here. I'm not going to pick Hamlin. I'm not going to pick Ross, although I think they should be considered.
Oh yeah.
But we did see them in season 1, so I think we're okay.
That's the biggest reason for me with those. And I like Ross. I don't really need to see more of Ross. The access that Denny gave us. I mean, you talk about the contrast between the most popular driver Chase Elliott, who doesn't want to be on this show, and Denny Hamlin, who is so hated, but is so smart to know I'm opening up freaking everything.
Well, and you got to remember with Ross too, you get the opportunity with him if you sign him up. There's a high probability of conflict. Yeah,
that's true.
That's what. But I'm not going to pick those guys.
Okay.
I thought Chase Briscoe was an interesting one to select. I'm not going to pick him. I'm not going to pick Daniel Suarez. I thought he's an interesting one as well. I'm going to go a little bit off the board here because I want to know more about this guy. I want to know about Shane Van Gisbergen. I want a really SVG. Good one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I want SVG. Yeah. So that'll be my pick, but some outside looking in guys. But again, we can't have them all.
Right.
So
I think another cool pick would be Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Super nice guy. I think he'd be fun to follow.
He's interesting. Yep.
I think Chris Buescher's probably got a story we don't know.
I feel like I know everything I need to know about Eric Jones. I don't know.
Yeah, same here.
What about John Hunter? Anything about
John Hunter would be a good one, but I feel like, so for me, it's either John Hunter or Ty Gibbs. I don't think I can handle both of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Josh Berry interest you at all?
Josh Berry's interesting.
He's an interesting guy. I just don't know if he doesn't have like Brad Keselowski. That's a really interesting pick. Because like you said, he's got so many things going on. He's so smart. He might not be like a high personality guy, but he's going to feed you a ton of information. So if you've got a good balanced roster of drivers, he's going to balance you out a little bit.
See, I kind of would like to go down the list and just go with, I'd be happy to pick a bunch of guys that you don't think would be good on the show, that don't have the personality that you think is worth watching. The Chris Buschers, the Martin Truex Juniors, because I bet you that we're wrong. These guys off the track, and that's the point of the show, is to see them off the track. Those personalities come out, and you don't realize what they're like outside of the racetrack. And the Austin Cindrics, those guys that just seem like they've got a stick up their ass at the track, but you get them off the track. And I mean, and Joey Logano's like that. Joey, everybody hates him because he's competitive at the track. But off the track, he's a super nice guy. He's super friendly. He's goofy, obnoxious because of that. But whatever. I mean, that's I don't know.
Yeah, I like that we both started out with guys with championships.
Yeah.
Logano, Kez, Kyle Busch, and Ryan Blaney, all champions.
See, and I would not have picked Kyle Busch just because I feel like I've seen so much of Kyle. They put so much out on social media over the years.
They really do. They really do.
That we don't need them in a show.
And I
not
think
that Joey's not like that. Joey's put a lot of stuff out there too.
Yeah, but I'd like to see the real Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
If you could ever capture that, like the guy you saw on pit road upset with Chris Bell. That's not what the social media channel puts out.
But I feel like I would have rather seen that when Kyle was in his heyday and not now.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're done with him.
Oh, I don't think we're done with him. But I'm talking when he's getting in an Xfinity car and he's winning the race, that type of thing. Unless he wrecks, he's winning.
Yep.
When the expectation was win or crash, that was it.
Yes. Yep.
Now the expectation is we're going to get hopefully a top 10.
We're gonna have a good day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
who do you like, Eric? I know you picked your own roster. I picked my own roster, but anybody sneak in there that you liked? That you think? Who do you think got of our two groups? Who do you like the best?
I'm pretty damn happy with my group, actually.
I like your group too.
I mean, I don't have an issue. Like I said, the only real issues I have with your group is I've seen a lot of Kyle. I like Ryan Blaney. I would love to see more Ryan Blaney, and I agree with you from the the post championship side. I think Blaney's got a ton of personality that we don't see. Gragson. I follow Gragson around.
Gregson's kind of a wild card.
He wouldn't have to be a race car driver. I'd still follow him around. I find Corey LaJoie fascinating.
Interesting personality. Yeah.
Corey LaJoie is fascinating. Shane Van Gisbergen I love, but he's not a full-time Cup driver yet, so I wouldn't have picked him. But
Yep. I think you've put together the better show. Because I like that you've got the high-end balance of Logano and Brad. But then you went off the board with Hocevar. That caught me off guard. That's a really good one because he would love that.
Oh yeah, he would.
That might be
dude.
The
He would be the narrator.
Yeah, when you picked Hocevar, that was a sneaky steal that because I thought I was going to get you with Gragson and you went Hocevar.
Remember, he put himself on the map by stealing the microphone at Fox during the rain delay. Wasn't it Fox?
Exactly. Exactly. Plus you got Larson, one of my guys, which I'm like, yeah, that's really good. And then the Gibbs thing. I don't know about your Gibbs pick, but the fact that his name's on the building, like you said earlier on this podcast, that is kind of an interesting dynamic.
That's what's compelling to me. And the fact that he seems like a punk kid. And I bet you we see that he's not.
Probably, yeah.
So
all right, I'm gonna give you the win here. You win the first gimmick draft.
All right, I will
for our group.
I will take my victory.
I would rather watch your show than mine. There you go. Congratulations.
I'll take my victory lap. Whoops. Oh, okay.
Yep. You win. I would tune into the Eric show versus the James show.
Perfect.
First.
Well, good.
Very good.
Good. I have a past in television production, so I could be a producer.
Yeah. Also, I've said some things about Ryan Blaney in the past. I won't say them on this podcast, but I would tune in.
Okay. Yeah. You're talking for secondary characters.
Yeah, supporting cast.
Yeah, supporting cast. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't take that into consideration. That probably should be considered.
I figured I'd take one last swipe in there to try to steal the win, but it's over. It's over.
There you go. All right, James, let's talk some news. We got a couple news items here real quick. They shouldn't take long. NASCAR has announced they will be taking over racing operations for Bowman Gray Stadium. There was a lot of concern immediately after this that NASCAR is going to clean up the crap show that is Bowman Gray, and basically it's been said they're not going to. They're going to leave it alone. It's kind of going to they already have their schedule set for this year. Everything's going to pretty much run the same way this year as it has in the past, and we'll see what happens in the future, whether there's going to be likely infrastructure improvements. And, Ben Kennedy kind of said that he didn't say, no, we're not going to bring a national series here. He didn't say we are going to bring a national series here, but he basically said that anything's on the table for a national series. So what do you think? How long before we run a truck series or an Xfinity series race at Bowman Gray?
I think we'll see ARCA and truck there in 2025 would be my guess. There'll be pretty close, or right around there. Kyle Busch had a really interesting interview. Did you see what he said?
No, I didn't.
He just said, basically, I'll summarize as best I can. he said basically, I've never seen a great race at Bowman Gray Stadium. I only see the you know what show, and that's the only thing that's entertaining, and that's what I would sign up for if I was going to see something like.
Well,
Man, that's fun. Yeah, of
People
course.
aren't going there because of the side by side racing. There isn't any.
No, and it's not. I don't know because the Cup guys wouldn't do that, so I
No.
don't think it would be a good show, especially on television. Now in person, it might be really cool. It might be a lot of fun, but. On TV, it's not. I don't think it would play
Having
very well.
stood on that racetrack, man, I can't imagine just a local night there, let alone a national series there.
Well,
The
it looks
truck
like
series would be beautiful here. It would be a mess.
It just looks
you
like
want to
like you would be racing around a track and field track.
Yeah, it is. I mean, basically, if you want to,
Yep.
if you want to see more of a cluster than Knoxville for the truck series, run them here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what it is.
But I'm all
That's
in
what
for it.
That's what Bowman Gray is.
I'm all in.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd watch the trucks there. I'd have no problem with that.
I'd buy a ticket. I'd be there.
Oh shoot, I didn't know you would go that far, but okay.
I would
All
make
right.
the trip.
Get that man a ticket.
I want to go to Bowman Gray anyway. I'm a bit disappointed they weren't racing when we were down there. I would go. I would definitely check out a truck race there.
Yeah. I mean, shoot. That's awesome.
Another potential NASCAR track on the schedule, James. NASCAR has been actively pursuing a 50% stake in the Long Beach race, Long Beach Grand Prix. What are your thoughts on that? And could we see a Cup Series race in Long Beach?
I think next year. I think Steve Phelps has an idea for where he wants to be there, right? So
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what. If we think that Circuit of the Americas is boring, then
boy.
get ready. Because it's going to be a barn burner compared to this one.
I mean, yeah. It's interesting though, isn't it? I don't know.
The only reason that the Long Beach Grand Prix is the spectacle as it is because it's in Long Beach, and it's a historic race. This is IndyCar's Monaco. It is not a good race, but it's a cool place and it's a cool experience. And I guess if NASCAR is gonna do it, if you're gonna race in Southern California, it's a good place to do it. But man, it's not gonna be a good race.
Roger Penske not happy about this.
No,
either. Basically, the company said they have no comment and they don't want to.
You think it's a conflict of interest for the team owner of one sport to be the series owner in another sport and competing with the sport that he races in?
You hinting at something else?
I don't know. It's just.
You mean like the SRX series?
Well, yeah, right.
being a problem too.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Yeah, it's I don't know. I know NASCAR wants to be out there in California, and they don't have a place to go right now because it sounds like the Coliseum's done. And then are we going back to Chicago after this year? I think that remains to be.
I think we do.
Seen.
I think we go one more year at Chicago.
So yeah, so if Chicago stays on the calendar, I think NASCAR has room for one street race that they're going to try to keep on the schedule, whether that's at Long Beach or.
I'd rather do this than put a track in the in Dodger Stadium.
My God, yes, yep, yeah, that's a great point.
So, I mean, I'll tell you what, you're going to get celebrities. You're going to get, especially you run into the doubleheader with the IndyCar, which of course is why IndyCar doesn't want anything to do with it, because this is the second biggest race that IndyCar runs to the Indy 500. It's the only other race that they have any identity in, and yeah, NASCAR will steal the show. So I get it. I understand why IndyCar is up in arms over this. Meanwhile, IndyCar is racing $1 million race that they only pay $500,000 to the winner for on an exclusive track on the worst racing circuit and the worst racing format ever in the history of the universe this weekend. So I don't know whose strategy is right.
I don't know. I've thought this forever, Eric, and I don't know why we can't make this work. Why can't NASCAR and IndyCar come together and say, we're going to do 2 weekends together a year. One weekend, we're going to be the sideshow and you get the main stage. The other weekend, We get the main stage. You get to be the sideshow. And why can't the Brickyard 400 run the weekend of the Indianapolis 500? And, for example, I'm just giving you an example. Why can't we flip flop and everybody gets the cake? You know what I mean?
I have 3 letters. EGO. Ego.
Oh, yeah. There's always been that, right?
I mean, that's the thing is you don't want to. These guys don't want to give up their number 1 status, and it's stupid because it's just going to benefit both sports.
Yep.
But NASCAR doesn't care. NASCAR doesn't care if IndyCar benefits from them. That's the problem. So NASCAR has the extra chips in. So they're in a better position at the bargaining table to make this work. And NASCAR is not going to give up their premier status on a weekend.
Right.
That's where it comes down to is NASCAR is too stubborn. IndyCar's already done it. So NASCAR is just not going to give in, unfortunately. I don't see it ever happening, despite the fact that it would help NASCAR too. But NASCAR doesn't need NASCAR doesn't feel like it needs the small number of fans that IndyCar has. And IndyCar's struggling to hang on still, They're But the thing is NASCAR needs to realize that, IndyCar was once better than NASCAR. It was once bigger than NASCAR, and things can turn, especially when you have, contracts with your teams that aren't signed yet, and potential for splits and whatever else could happen, ugly legal fights. I would try to position yourself the best way possible. But anyway, I don't know.
Is NASCAR going to own IndyCar someday, you think?
Nah, I don't know. I don't think so. I hope not.
Yeah. We need to have them separate. I just think it's an interesting conversation.
NASCAR's got too much under its label right now anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But this race is another COTA. It's one of those things that would be cool to be at. It'd be a boost for the sport. It wouldn't be a good race. So
yeah.
But Chicago, same way. I mean, and Chicago ended up being a decent race. So who knows? Maybe you stick these cars on the tight confines of Long Beach and it works. But I don't see it. It's like I said, it's not a good track for Indy cars, and NASCAR stock cars are gonna drive worse on the track than IndyCar does. So I don't know.
Yep.
Here you go. There's one other thing I wanted to discuss. You brought it up, I think, but I don't remember what it was.
Tire test at Sonoma?
Yeah, there's that.
There's that. No, we were going to talk really briefly about North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, that wasn't it either, though. But yeah, North Wilkesboro, they found
there was
they made a discovery.
A long rumored moonshine cave that was just a myth until today.
Yeah.
There was a sinkhole, and underneath the grandstands at North Wilkesboro Speedway, if it's not legendary enough, there it is, a moonshine still.
Gotta love
incredible.
It, man. It's so cool.
Where did you sit when you were there? Because this looks like it's in turn 1.
Yeah, we sat in turn 1.
Yeah, Eric. You're probably sitting on a gold mine there. Row 7.
Sitting on history. Well, we were at the top. So
all right. So yeah, pretty cool, man. Just what a funny story.
I probably walked over it at least.
You probably walked over that still that we're talking about right now.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely crazy.
What did I bring up that you want to talk about? What did we miss?
I don't remember. It's all right.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll remember as soon as we're done recording.
That's fine.
We go to Richmond Raceway this weekend. Is it Richmond Raceway? Yeah, Richmond Raceway is the
We're heading
the
to
name of the track
Richmond.
now.
Yes.
They've changed the name a couple times. Easter weekend racing. Toyota Owners 400 Sunday 7 p.m. Easter Sunday. NASCAR Xfinity Series will race at 1:30 p.m. on Saturday. The Toyota Care 250. My understanding is NASCAR scheduled stuff early in the day on Saturday and late in the day on Sunday to allow teams to fly back home and be with their families on Easter morning, which is pretty cool for the teams that can afford to do that. So that's neat.
Easter Sunday night racing. Boo.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm all right.
I don't have the day off on Monday. That's what I want. That's what I really want.
Dude, it's Richmond. You're going to fall asleep anyway.
You said it, man.
Yeah. So we make our picks, James. I think you go first this week.
I did. I flipped them around. I got them in order.
Okay. So
no, you.
So I go first.
You go first. Yep,
all right. Good.
You go first.
Then I'm gonna take Denny Hamlin. Home track
Good.
win.
I'll take his teammate with the hot shoes, Christopher Bell.
There you go.
I think Chris Bell's going to come in there and whoop some butt.
Can I also, as a secondary pick every other Toyota?
Every Toyota will be good. Can I throw out Josh Berry just as a?
Yeah, maybe.
I wonder.
That's a good
Just
point. That car runs well here. So does Josh.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm not picking him. I'm just saying.
That
keep
car
an eye on that guy.
That car runs well here, and so does Josh. That's a good pick, actually.
Yeah, just keep an eye on him. That might be a top 10 car to watch, for fun. Let's see if Josh Berry's a short chat guy, man. That's just, you know.
I like it.
That's all I'm saying.
I like it. How about fantasy, James? Talk to us about fantasy, because I don't want to talk about it.
Yep, we had a tie at the top, Eric.
Yeah,
Ranger.
Couple of losers.
Sorry,
Ranger. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you a loser. Just James.
Well, just like William Byron, I am now the first multi-time winner of the season. So me and Ranger.
You only have 1.5 wins.
Well, me and Ranger, we split. So we each got a 1 next to our name. Plus, it's showing me on top. So I'll take 51%. Ranger gets a 49. How's that?
My God.
Yeah, I'll give Ranger the 51. That's fine. Hendrick Flair was third by only 4 points. And then Eric, you were, oh boy, 11th. But you're not that far behind. That's the thing. Like it wasn't like anybody blew anybody away this week. It was close. Overall, not much change. Team Justin still first. Fast to the Grass is second. Miska Muska Mickey Elliott is third. I always just say Mickey Elliott because I always stumble.
Yeah.
But Mickey Elliott is third. Also, most importantly, I'm fifth and you're ninth, by the way. But most importantly, that son of a gun, Watermelon James, whoever you are, I beat you this week, sir or ma'am. I don't know who you are. You're probably a listener. But we're 1-1 as far as I'm concerned. We're playing match play. So 1-1.
Funny.
Watermelon James. It's going to bother me all year. There you go. Fantasy League. Done.
There we go. Okay. Anything else that we need to talk about?
I do have a checkered flag.
We have checkered flags and black flags. Yeah, sorry. I clicked off the notes for a second.
You're good. I do have a checkered flag if I need to filibuster.
Go for it. Checkered flag me.
If you have HBO Max, do you have HBO Max?
I do not, but I'm thinking about resubscribing. So
well, you got to watch Curb. That's one.
That's part of the reason I'm thinking about resubscribing.
Oh my God, it's been delightful. Wow, Larry David's just. I mean, there was an episode on Text Chains. I texted you about it because I was so excited. Anyway, that's not why I was bringing this up. On HBO Max, there's a documentary, not NASCAR related, NASCAR adjacent, I'd say. Lionheart, Dan Walden.
Ooh.
And it goes through his life and career and what his 2 sons are up to as they enter their racing career as young development drivers. Yep, they're young development drivers for Andretti, and they're karting. I think they're 10 and 12. Their ages are 10 and 12. So about your boys' age, Eric. Very interesting so far. I've got about 30 minutes left. I need to finish, but yeah, it kind of goes through who Dan was as a person. He's just a very interesting guy. Mm-hmm. 2-time Indy 500 champion. Obviously, we know he passed away tragically at Las Vegas, 2011. But yeah, just an interesting guy. A lot of drivers are involved in this. Tony Kanaan, Dario Franchitti, a lot of people from our years watching motorsports. Very good, Eric. I would highly recommend. It's a good. I think it's an hour and 45-minute documentary, so not terribly long.
Nice.
So yeah, very easy watch, very good watch. It's kind of half and half, where it's Dan Walden, his life and career, and then his wife and 2 boys, and how they're trying to navigate a racing career without Dan. So very interesting, very well done as well. So I thought it was really worth bringing up here on the podcast. If you have Max, check it out.
There you go. My checkered flag is a skeptical checkered flag, but SRX is back, James.
Yes, it is.
They're back. Skip Barber Racing School has bought SRX.
And they hired Hawk to run the show.
Yeah.
So Hawk, yeah, maybe it's not dead yet.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, there's that. And some news for myself. I'm not giving myself a checkered flag, but I'll just give the news here.
You should definitely mention this.
Yeah. So I've been named the official photographer for the JEG CRA Late Model Series All-Star Tour this summer. So I'll be heading out to a bunch of those races this year, shooting some racing and hanging out with guys like Chase Berta, newly announced Kawicki development driver, among others. So yeah, it should be a fun time. Should be
Doesn't Hocevar come out and run? with those
Hocevar's
guys?
run a couple. I don't know if he will now that he's a Cup Series driver, but he does have a team in
he'll
the series. So yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be good times. So looking forward to that.
There you go.
Uh,
Excellent. That's an awesome job, man. That's
yeah.
really cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you should be. It's great.
Black flags, James. Any black flags this week?
That Chase Elliott interview, black flag.
Yeah, I'll give that.
probably it.
I'll take that one as well. I don't really have anything.
Brett
specifically.
Griffin, though. Brett Griffin, I see you on the Twitters.
Yeah,
You're circling a black flag from me. I'm not going to give it to
He
you yet.
just wants to rile people up.
Well, he's doing a good job of it because he got my attention.
The best part is when him and Freddie hide behind the Couch Racer account and don't post as themselves. That's what annoys me.
Yeah.
So
Ugh.
everybody just assumes
Man.
it's Brett, but it's not always Brett.
You know what's funny? Brett's that guy. I probably do this to you, I think. Brett's a guy where I could probably agree with him and he still drives me crazy
Yeah.
for whatever the take is. And I know I've done that to you.
I would love to argue with those guys. There's so many times that I argue with them as they're doing their show, but they can't hear me.
Yep.
All three of them, really. Honestly, they're still my favorite racing podcast of the week. That's the first one I go to is DBC. Probably followed by the Teardown again this year now.
Well, Teardown's great because you get that, and that's why I'm glad they're with Dirty Mo.
Yeah.
You get that instantaneous reaction.
Yes.
And if you're like me, you crank it up on a Monday and you get your feed, get your feedback from the race and see what those guys have going on. They'll give you some insight and then they'll upset you too at times. So
the download has fallen off for me
good.
because I miss Mike Davis. So without Davis there, I love Junior, but Davis balanced him out really well. And I don't know, I'm not as big of a fan of Junior running the show there. So still good stuff. I just don't seek it out.
Right.
But
he's got, I think Bobby Hillen coming on this week.
that'd be a good one.
Pretty good.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's always got good interviews. The interviews are always good. So. All right, James, where can people find you on social media if they want to hit you up during the week?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play for now, but I guess that's going away. So it'll be on YouTube, YouTube Music, I guess, going forward. Anchor, wherever you find us today, we hope you subscribe, continue to listen for new episodes each week. And if you go to anchor.fm/thesuperspeedway, you can leave us an audio message and we might just play it on the show. Happy Easter, everybody. We go to the Easter weekend this weekend, but NASCAR is still in action. The Xfinity Series on Saturday, the Cup Series on Sunday night. We'll be back next week to break it all down. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.